Hey gifted crafters, welcome back for another Saturday Crafternoon. Hi everyone, my name is Nancy with GiftsHQ. If you're tuning in for the first time, I host these weekly live sessions to talk about all things crafty. We talk about things from decoupage to sewing, quilting, and so much more. So if that's something that you're interested in, you're definitely in the right place. So feel free to jump into the chat and say hello to some friends, get some tips, tricks, ideas. We like to share things in case maybe you're an Etsy seller, or maybe you're someone who's going to have an upcoming craft show, or you're just looking for some ideas for some gifts. Now, we know the holidays are really coming up pretty quickly, and this is the perfect place to start thinking about, what are some handmade items that you can pass down to family and friends and just give away, or maybe even sell in your shops. So I hope you guys really enjoyed today's session. Let's just say hello to a few friends that I see out there. I see Jenny Owens, I see Crafting with Robin, Donna Phillips, Judy Bauer, 1 Minute Tips. Let's see. I think I may have missed a few people here, but let's just go on. And as you guys come on and I see you popping through the chat, I'll say hello. But again, if you're new, go ahead and go into the chat and then just try to mingle with some friends, because you'll get a lot of ideas and a lot of people will be able to help you with maybe something that you're struggling with, or maybe it's something, an idea that you're kind of wanting to do but not sure how to implement it. This is a really helpful group, and we really like to share and help each other out. Now, we're also on some social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Threads, so feel free to join us on that. I like to share pictures and projects and things that we're doing all the time, so you'll see stuff posted on there, and feel free to share some of your projects and your accomplishments. We love to celebrate those. Alrighty, so if you tuned in with us, I'm sorry, before I even get to that, forget my holidays. So today is Care Bear Share Day. So if you remember way back in the day, there used to be a lot of Care Bears, these little bears that everyone went crazy over. Well, today's Care Bear Share Day. So if you have a Care Bear, share it with someone and have fun with that. So I just wanted to tune into some of those holidays with you. Now, let's get into last week. Last week was live number 55, and what we did was had a little visit. I visited Maitland, Florida, and we visited the Sewing Studio Superstore, which was absolutely amazing. I did a kind of a little tour on the camera and showed a lot of the things that they had. And they're also online. So if you're interested in finding a new place to maybe shop online with, or maybe you're in the Maitland, Florida area and want to visit it, this is a great kind of recap for you to just kind of give you some ideas of what they have. I met a fellow subscriber there, which was totally amazing, and we had a fantastic time. We were actually there for quite a number of hours. But it was just such a great store, and we just, hit it off and made another friend for life, and I really, really appreciate her meeting me there. So let's get to what we're going to talk about this week, because I'm pretty excited. Like I mentioned, a lot of holidays are coming up. We are now in September, and we've got Halloween, we've got Thanksgiving, we've got Christmas. All of the big major holidays that the crafters are super, super busy for. So this is the time of the year that everyone is swamped. If you're a crafter, you're definitely starting to feel the pressure now. It's make sure you go out and you get your supplies, have everything that you need to be able to either sell, or if you're just trying to organize your gifts, this is the time to do it. Don't wait. Because if you wait, you will have a hard time finding the supplies, and there's all kinds of things that can happen, and you don't want to stress yourself out when you're doing the crafts. You actually want to enjoy the experience, which I hope all of you guys do. So I'm going to share with you today a couple of wreaths that I made, and I know Crafting with Robin is one of our subscribers. She had a video out on a wreath that she did. And I thought that was absolutely adorable. I really loved the way it came out. So if you haven't seen her video, check it out. I went ahead and I kind of repurposed one of the wreaths that I had from last year, and then I created a new wreath for this year. So I'm going to share both of those with you and kind of just walk through some of the supplies that you'll need, the steps that I took to make the wreaths. And the great thing about wreaths is they're really forgiving. You can do so many different things with wreaths. You can do it, you know, with the mesh, without the mesh. You can do it with fabric. You can do so many different ways that you can do it. And then things that you can accessorize on it range from like floral picks, you know, to just, you know, anything. You can put anything on there. There's leaves, there's flowers, there's, you know, even pieces of fabric, there's ribbons. You know, it's just very, very open to how creative you are and how you want to put things together. So that's a really fun part about making wreaths, and they have a pretty high quality value when you're selling them at these craft fairs and things like that, because a lot of people will spend a decent amount of money on a really beautiful wreath, and you really don't have to spend too much money to make them. There are some supplies that you definitely will need, but some of these supplies, once you get them, you kind of reuse over and over again. So it's not too bad. You may have that first initial little investment that you'll have to make, but then after that, if your thing is just making wreaths, you can continue to make wreaths with the same supplies over and over again. And I'll show you an example of that. So let's get right to it, okay? Let me pull one out here. I'm gonna pull out the wreath from last year. So just give me a second. Gotta slide it all the way over here without knocking everything over, that is. Okay. So this is the wreath that I made this year. And you may look at this wreath and remember what I had. So last year we had this mesh going on here. We used the Dollar Tree frame, and I'm gonna flip it over for you. So right here you'll see the frame. You'll see all of these pipe cleaners behind here. I didn't bother snipping them off, but I probably will with time. But this is the same mesh that I had from last year. All I did was pull out what I had attached to it before, and then now I just kind of brought something in. And I'm going to show you what I did here. This is a little kit that I actually got from the Dollar Tree. And all it is the little legs and the little hat, which you can totally make yourself as well with just felt, right? This is just felt sewed across with another piece here and a little bit of tulle at the end. Very, very simple. Now they have these little ties so you can tie it down to your wreath. I haven't done that because I want to show you a couple things before I kind of make it permanent. So I did go ahead and pull the legs, and the legs are tied, kind of tied down here. Okay. And what I have also is a little picture, little PDF that I'm going to be providing you guys. I don't have it in the description now, but I'll put it in right after this video. But it's just a PDF that you could use, and you can put it on your wreaths. It's just a little girl witch. I think she was really cute. And I left her, she has a hat on. So there's a couple things you can do. If you don't have the little kits to make the wreaths and you just want the PDF that I have, and you have the wreath with the mesh on there, you can just put this right in the middle. Just kind of ignore the legs. Put it right in the middle, and that would make a cute wreath right there. And she's already got her little hat and everything. Now, remember the PDF, this is all AI generated. And so I'm going to go ahead and attach the PDF in the description so you guys will be able to download it completely free. Okay, this is just something for you guys to do. And if you notice, once we printed it out and we cut it out, what we did is we then attached it, and you'll notice right here, this is the back of a pizza box. So just a little piece of cardboard will do. I grabbed the pizza box because we had one on hand. Of course, you know, my son likes to have his Friday night pizzas, so we order pizzas on Friday. And so we got the back of the pizza box, cut it out, and I went ahead and put that on here. And now this has a little hard surface, and so now I can kind of just put it on the wreath by itself, or I have the little kit that I had from the Dollar Tree with legs. We can have this, and I can just take the hat, kind of pull it off of the mesh here, and I could just put the hat on top. And so you won't see the hat that she has with the cardboard. You'll just see the hat that you put on top here. So it kind of gives it a little bit of that 3D dimensional kind of looks. It has a little bit of depth to it. And then once I decide if I want to have the hat on or off, then I'll just go ahead and I'll tack everything down with maybe like some glue gun, little dots here or there. You can use some double-sided tape, you know, however you want to do it. It's just, you know, your preference. But I think she's super cute, you know, and again, this was repurposed from last year. So I already had the frame. I already had the mesh put on. I took off all of the accessories, embellishments that were all around it, and I just kind of started new. So every wreath is kind of just starting it new again. And so then you have, you know, the little wreath, I forget exactly what they call it. It's like a little wreath decoration, I guess, just for lack of a better word. This one, they had the witch. They also had like a Frankenstein one, and I think the other one was a vampire or something like that. I just decided on the witch. I thought the witch was cute. So got the little legs. You can also do this if you have some scrap fabric, you know, just fold the fabric in half, sew it, get some felt, cut out a little template of some little feet, you know, however you want to show it, and then just, you know, attach it. Get some fabric glue. You can do that as well. So that'll put this piece together, and then if I want to keep the hat, I could just attach the hat to the cardboard, you know, and just kind of tie it all down. So that would be a nice little wreath, you know, just for you to have for, you know, any occasion, if you want to sell it or if you want to just have it in your home. It's quick, it's simple, anyone can do this. So I thought I wanted to share that with you. Now let me talk about the new one that I did for this year, and let's talk about the supplies, because I did the new one a little bit different. Let me put this on this side, so actually over here, so that I'll have space. The new one that I did is a little bit different technique than this one. This one from last year, it was a lot simpler, because really it was just your hands working with the mesh and putting it and tie wrapping it into the wreath frame. This one, I wanted the actual mesh to be a little bit more defined, so I tried a different method. But what I can do for next time, like, you can use that method, but you don't necessarily have to. And what I'm talking about is this is kind of like, I was trying to eliminate all of the fraying that was going on. So like in the wreath itself, it makes it a little bit hard to see, but there is like a little bit of fraying going on, and you may see like a couple little threads hanging out here. I can easily grab some scissors and snip them off, yeah, but I was trying to avoid having to have those little frays in the first place, and why, you know, mesh kind of breaks off like that. So I wanted to try a different method to see if I could seal it, and I'll show you what I did and how I did it. But you know, it's kind of really a preference if you mind these little frame things hanging out or not. Maybe you want to do a little bit more of a polished look. There's a couple different things that I probably would have done differently now that I'm done with it and went through the process, but we'll talk about that. Okay, so supplies for the new wreath. I used two different ones. This is again, this one's from the Dollar Tree. It's Crafter Square decorative mesh. I used this orange here, has a little bit of metallic in it, and I also used this green. Now these come in, it's 6 inches by 5 yards. So I used about, I want to say about 3 of the orange and maybe about one to 2 of the green. So not too much. But the problem with this in the project that I did now is that the Crafter Square mesh measures 6 inches. If you can get the 10-inch one, it's probably a little better, only because it covers a wider spot. But if you can't get that size and you go a little smaller, just note that the smaller you go, probably the more of these that you're going to need. So it kind of depends what type of mesh you can find. They had some beautiful ones on Amazon that were 10-inch mesh, but they were like $21.99, I think it was, and it came in like a 4-pack, and it was like 1 roll of the orange, 1 roll of the green, and then it was like a yellow, and I forget what the other color was. And I really didn't need the other 2 colors. I really just needed more of the orange and the green, so I decided not to get that. Checked a couple of other places. Michael's had a sale going on with the mesh stuff, but kind of the same thing. It was a multi-pack. It wasn't really exactly what I wanted. So I went ahead and decided, you know, I'm just going to use the Dollar Tree one because it's inexpensive. It's not as big as I would like it to be, but I'll make it work. So that was kind of my whole attitude towards it. Is I didn't want to spend a lot of money, so I just wanted to get what I needed and just make it work. So this is what I used. Now, what you're gonna have to do with these is kind of cut them down into squares. So since this is 6 inches, I wanted to kind of square them off. So every 6 inches, I cut them off and made little squares. Let me see, I have a couple here still. These are kind of hard because, you know, the mesh kind of sticks to everything. But you can see here that I just kind of cut out that small piece of mesh, right? Now, the way I cut them out is I used like a little cutting board. Now, it's not a glass cutting board. This is plexiglass. And if you remember that when you are kind of using this type of stuff, you want to be careful with it. You want to make sure that, you know, it's tempered glass, not real glass, right? So sorry, it's tempered glass. So what I used was, you can use either a soldering iron, or if you have one on hand, I have one of those wood burning tools. So I took my wood burning tool and what I did was I would kind of measure it out. I put a piece of painter's tape to kind of see what I was measuring. And then what I did was with the wood burning tool, I went ahead and I kind of heated it up really good, make sure it's nice and hot. And then on the tempered glass, you're going to glide it down and it's going to cut the mesh. Now, the idea of using this was thinking that not only would I be cutting it off, but I would also be kind of sealing the edges so that I wouldn't get that fray. Now, I'm kind of torn between the two. So it did help prevent a little bit of fraying, but it's still kind of frayed a little bit. Like it wasn't exactly perfect the way I would have liked it to look, but it did kind of help. And I think for cutting wise, it made things a lot easier. You just kind of, once this is really heated up, you just kind of go across the tempered glass and then, it melts it away. And so you have the appropriate size that you need for the wreath. So in a sense it worked, but I was kind of iffy on it. You could just take a rotary cutter and go through it. It's just, this does have a little bit of metallic on it, and I just didn't want to use my rotary cutters, or you could just use plain old scissors. It's just that because it's mesh, it moves all over the place. It's kind of hard to keep it down. So the best trick that I thought was that you lay it down on the tempered glass. You get something heavy, I don't know, something small that you can do, like a little button thing, just to kind of hold it down. And then you go ahead and use the soldering iron, or you use your little wood burning tool, and then go ahead and heat it up and cut it off. And then that'll cut the piece that you need. So that's how I was able to cut up these pieces. Now I did I think initially I did about 60 or 70 of these that I cut up in the orange color, and then I don't know, maybe about 20 or so in the green. And then after that, it's kind of like really up to you if you want to add more or you don't. It's pretty much up to you on how full you want your wreath to look. So that's how I cut them out, and that's why this mesh, the type of mesh that you get is super important. I wasn't too much of a fan of it having this metallic on it, but I really couldn't find any that didn't have the metallic. The ones that I did find were on Amazon, but they were pretty pricey. And they were the 10-inch ones, which was the ones that I wanted, but I didn't want to spend that kind of money. So I kind of kept it simple, and again, like I said, I was making it work. So once I went ahead and I cut all my pieces, let me move this over to the side. Then I just grabbed a Dollar Tree frame, right? So there's two that you can get. This one is from Dollar Tree. It's pretty wide. Now there's another one that you can get from Hobby Lobby. And Hobby Lobby's is a little bit, I think, smaller in terms of the width. The length is pretty much the same. It's just a little bit more shrunk. So I liked that, and being that I was using this mesh, and it was only 6 inches, I went ahead and got that one. But I did have this one on hand, so I'm probably going to make another one later on, probably do something for my mom. So I went ahead and got this frame. I got my mesh. The other thing that you're going to need is you're going to want to get, and they sell these at the dollar store too. These are pipe cleaners. These come in all different colors, or you can just get one color. It really doesn't matter. No one's going to see it. You just need to have pipe cleaners. You can pick them up at the Dollar Tree. They're from Crafter's Square. It's called Chanel Stems, is what they call it. It's pipe cleaners. So I think with one pack of these, there's about 45 to the pack. That's plenty. You just need one. So you can pick one of those up. And then you are also going to want to pick up some cable ties. And got these at the Dollar Tree too. These kind 60 pieces. You want to get the small ones. If you can get them even smaller, they do have them. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So it's got to kind of see how lucky you are. It really doesn't matter. But the smaller, the better. It's easier to work with. But these are the cable ties. And again, these are 60 in a pack. I think one pack would be just fine. You may want to pick up two just to have a little bit of extra. It all depends on how full you want to make your wreath. The fuller you want to make it, probably the more cable ties you'll need, because you're kind of attaching that to the mesh. So it kind of depends what you want to do. So then I'm going to go ahead and also get some ribbons or embellishments, depending what you want to use. There's a few that are out there, and these, I've got some ribbons from mostly from last year. This was from the Dollar Tree. I still had some leftover ribbon, so it's kind of like all different kinds that you can use. This is one example. This one I got from Hobby Lobby. You know, after all the holidays are over, everything goes on sale, so that's when I went and I snagged a ton of ribbon and all kinds of stuff. And so a lot of this stuff is ribbon from last year that I was able to get at a really low price. I believe right now they have some of the Christmas items on sale. So if you are thinking ahead, you want to try to get your supplies early, get those discounts now. Don't wait, because then the price starts going up and your craft is going to cost you more money, and if you're selling that, you're going to be making less, because now the prices of the supplies that you need are a lot more. Okay, I also picked up a couple of picks. These, I picked up some of these last year, and they had them again this year. This pick $1.99, but it's 50% off, so we got it for 99 cents, and they're pretty good. These were a little bit smaller, so it was less. I don't remember what the price was offhand, but this one I know it's not it. It says $2.99, but I think it was 60% off or something like that. I don't remember. But this is a pick that you could use. You know, and there's all kinds of different picks that you can choose from. It's really a matter of preference on how you want your wreath to look like. So you can pick up some picks like this. They also have picks from the Dollar Tree that you can pick up as well, with all kinds of flowers and things like that too. So really a matter of preference on how you want to decorate it. So I'll put that over to the side. And then let me just move this over so I can show you what this year's wreath looks like. Okay, so here we have the wreath from this year, and it's in the shape of the pumpkin because I used the pumpkin wreath. Now I still have, it's kind of a little bit of a work in progress. There's still some things that I've kind of may want to add and remove and kind of fix around, but you know, got all of the mesh here, got the green mesh on the top, and then I added some ribbon as well as some of the floral picks. Tied all that together, and you can see in the back, looks kind of ugly in the back, but nobody sees it. Now you see all of the ties that I made, and these are the tie wraps that I did in between. So the first thing that I would do is I'll go ahead and take the mesh and tie them to the frame itself. And let me go back to my other example here. So what I mean is that first you start off tying it to all of these individual loops that you have here. All right, so you're going to want to start all the way on the end and work your way all the way across till you get to the end. Fill all of that up with your orange mesh. Once you're done with that, you kind of have to take a step back and look to see if you have holes in between. Now, this is why I think the size of the mesh is important. So if you get the 10-inch mesh, you're covering a larger portion. So you're not going to see a lot of holes because it's a larger mesh. So it would cover these big areas, especially this middle piece that's, you know, got this the biggest gap here. So the 10-inch mesh would really cover that. But because I'm using the smaller one, I'm using the 6-inch mesh, you know, I have to kind of compensate for that. So The quick little trick on how you get around that is by going ahead and using those pipe cleaners. And if you take the pipe cleaner and you kind of drag it across, or you can zigzag it, you know, however you want to place it. Drag it across, tie it. That provides you with another anchor for you to be able to tie your mesh to. So it, in essence, almost creates another kind of like line, I guess you call it, you know, so it will create this extra layer for you to be able to add more mesh to it. So that kind of condenses it even more and makes it look more fuller. So that's, you know, one way of doing it. So let me just show you how I kind of put the mesh together. And let me see if I can slide this over a little bit. Maybe I'll put it over here. And I'm going to grab a green one. And you got to kind of be patient with this mesh because it sticks to everything, you know. So it's like it even sticks to itself. So you got to kind of, it is forgiving, but you got to kind of be on top of it a little bit, right? So if I take one piece of mesh here, right, what I'm going to do is I want to fold the mesh to make it a triangle. And you're going to want to look at your edges here. And when you look at your edges, you can see here how it has a little bit more of a finish on the edges. You want that finished edge to show. So what I do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to fold the finished edge onto the sides that do not have a finished edge, if you guys know what I mean. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to fold it, bring it across. Now it's not going to be perfect because remember, mesh is a little difficult to work with. You got to kind of, you know, fidget with it a little bit here. Just make it a triangle as best as you can. It's not going to be a perfect triangle. And so now you'll see I brought over, if I show that to you again. So we went from this little piece that we cut off, and then I just brought the finished edge and I'm going to fold it over to this side. Okay, that's going to make my triangle. Okay, now what you're doing with this is you're trying to kind of mimic a leaf. Now in last year's wreath, we didn't have to mimic a leaf. We were just tying them on to the actual frame itself. But this year, we are mimicking little leaves coming down. So what you would do at this point, once you have your triangle folded, you're gonna fold that little piece on the top, just fold it in. All right, so you fold it on the inside, and then you're just going to start to gather. Just kind of run your fingers across all the way till you get maybe about 1 inch to 1.5 inches to the end. Okay, once you get to that end, then you're going to again fold it underneath and then just continue to gather. And that's going to, once you do that, you have it all gathered in your hands. You're going to then grab this leaf and just kind of fidget with it a little bit. Nope, kind of lost it there. Hold on, let me do that again. Folding it. Folding it underneath, grab it, fold underneath, and continue to grab. You're going to end up with what looks like a leaf. And again, you'll have to kind of play with it. This one has a lot of fraying going on, so I kind of picked a bad piece here. But I'll try to show you on another one. I don't know if the camera really picks this one up well. You can kind of see it a little bit. I think it's mesh, so it's a little difficult to see. So let me see if we try to grab another one. See if I have any orange ones left. I think I do. Yep. Well done. Of course, they all fall on the floor for me. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so if I take maybe the orange, it'll show a little better. And I fold it. I'm trying to do it quickly so I can show you. You can grab this, fold it again. Okay. Yeah, I picked one that's on the end, but that's okay. It'll basically look like a leaf once I'm done fidgeting with it. So you'll see basically a little point on the end. So you guys see that little point here? That's what you want to mimic. Just like a little teardrop almost, but it has a little point on the end. And then the top is where you have it all gathered, and that's where you're going to take your tie wrap and you're taking this tie wrap and you're going to wrap this onto the frame. So if you take your frame, you're going to go ahead and tie it on here. So I'll just grab this, put it in. Kind of hard to do with one hand, but you can always fidget with it after. Once you get it and you put it on, tighten it a little bit. And now you've got your first one on, and you're just going to continue to do this all the way until you filled up the entire line here. And you'll just continue to work at your own pace. No rushing on this. But once you get all of your mesh pieces on, then you'll be able to start seeing it come into a fuller effect, right? And right now it's just kind of hung up on something there. There we go. So you've got, once you have that full effect that you want, you kind of just keep working with it. And you want to make sure you fill any holes that you may see. So if you start to see through, then just drop another pipe cleaner in the back and fill it up, and then that will fill up your wreath. Now once you start getting to the top, you want to start switching colors. So I wanted to mimic a little bit of the leaf, so I switched it up to these. And then on the green, on some of them, what I decided to do was change it up a little bit. And so instead of mimicking the leaf, I just took this itself and I just curled it. And so I just made a little tube. And so taking that tube, I will squish it here. And then I just kind of tied it, just to give it a little bit of a more dimensional type look. So a little bit of difference in the type of structure that I was trying to do here. So there's still some little pieces that I want to kind of fix here and there. And then, you know, once I have it, you know, you're going to start to fidget along with this a little bit more. So let me just pause for a little bit. I see some comments on here Oh, Crafty with Robin, love that wreath, and I think I have the form and maybe enough mesh to try that. So beautiful. Oh, thanks, Crafty with Robin. And you did a great job on your wreath too. 1 minute tip said that's a lot of time. Wow, must have taken some time. It did take some time. I mean, not like the entire day, but you know what? Pop in a movie, put your stuff, lay it out, you know, and you'll be done in no time. You know, as you just continue to work through it. You know, it takes a couple, maybe an hour or two to kind of pull together, and then it's just a matter of preference. And then the fun part starts, and that's the decorating part. And so you get to kind of look through your stash and pull all your picks and your ribbons and things that you want. And then, you know, just put it together. But, you know, definitely something that can be done in a day, in a couple of hours even. So quick little decorating thing that you want to do for your house. Super, super simple. Oh my gosh, Judy. Judy's having little issues there with her grandson. I prefer the cuddling time over the diaper time. Anyone would. Okay, she's got these pumpkin frames from last year. Awesome. Yeah, that's the great thing about these frames. You can reuse them over and over and over again. They have the pumpkin frames. I also saw the witch hat one. So you can do that one too. You can get the standard circles. They have the squares. And you can change it up for every season or every holiday. It just makes it really forgiving to be able to do anything you want. And you can just either leave the mesh that you have and just change up the decorations. You know, maybe you don't want to go through the whole mission of doing the mesh on the frame. You can just mess with the decorations and completely change the look, you know, from year to year. So it makes it really quick and easy and fun to do. All right. Now, the other thing, this is a kid-friendly project, you know, so there's not really any stuff involved that they could do. Now, I wouldn't recommend for them to go ahead and use the soldering iron or the wood burning tool to cut it. I would prefer that for an adult to do. But once it's already cut, this is totally something that they can do. They can sit there and pinch them and put the pipe cleaners in, and you know, and it makes them happy that they're, you know, participating in the craft. So it's definitely something that's fun to do. If you're planning a day of crafts with maybe your grandkids or something like that, I would cut all of the mesh items to size and then just, you know, sit with them and just do the wreath. I think that's a lot of fun. Okay. Oh, Donna says Harbor Freight has good prices on assorted sizes of small zip ties. Ah, zip ties in green and brown often show up in gardening departments. That's true. Thanks, Donna. Great tip. So Harbor Freight, guys, if you have a Harbor Freight near you, they've got some good prices on the zip ties. Awesome. Thank you, Donna. Okay. Jenny Owen says, I enjoy going to Harbor Freight. Yeah. You know, sometimes you have to kind of think where you can get some of these crafting supplies other than your typical like Michael's, Joann's, Hobby Lobby, Dollar Tree. You can go to your local hardware stores and you'd be surprised if you think out of the box some of the things that you find there, as well as, you know, some side things like the zip ties, right? So definitely a great place to go. Now, another thing that I used on here is I did use a little bit of burlap, and that's for the tip. And that's really a matter of preference on how you want to make the tip of the pumpkin. So I went ahead and wrapped it in the burlap, and then I just glue gunned it in place. I took the glue gun and I did some dabs of glue and just, you know, kind of put that in place. And that's all I wanted to do with that. But there's different things that you can do for the tip. So, you know, try to be creative, you know, think about how you want to do that. And then I went ahead and once I got all of the mesh kind of in place, I went ahead and put the picks, tied them together, and then added the ribbon on top. So that's kind of how it turned out. You know, not too bad. A little bit of tweaking that I'll probably do. The mesh kind of came out of place a little bit because I was pulling them a little bit. as I was working and getting ready and pulling things on the table, but not too bad. And you know what I did as well in the back, and that's something you may want to consider, is I just created a little loop with my ribbon, just so that when I go to hang it, I have a little loop back here, and it'll be easy to just hang on your door or the wall, right? So you may want to create a little loop back here and tie it up, either using the tie wrap maybe. You know, if you want to use any of these, would be fine to create the loop. Or if you have ribbon like I did, you know, I just attached the ribbon here and created it there. So just make sure that it's pretty stable and it'll support the weight of the frame, which is not really much, so it's not too bad. The other thing that you can do, and I'm kind of considering doing, if you have a piece of fabric, maybe in this orangey color, you can also take a piece of fabric, and if you don't want this to show, just kind of cover it here. And then maybe take some, you know, fabric glue or some glue gun and just put dabs here just to kind of hold it in place. And you can just cover this up with a piece of nice fabric. That would kind of cover the back and maybe even help to develop, you know, a little bit of orange in case you have any holes or anything like that where the mesh is not covering. So that's another tip that you can do. It's just that's an added expense because, you know, then you'll have to buy a piece of fabric. So you don't really have to do it. If you have some fabric around, you want to try it, go ahead and do that. But other than that, you know, just making sure that the frame itself is filled up with the mesh, that's really all you need to do. Once you have that in place, you're good. Let's see. Oh, Donna says small zip ties also sell in holiday aisles of stores. Green and red sell at Christmas. I buy ahead and store them in a tote for year-long use. Great tip, Donna. Yes, you know, a lot of these holiday supplies, they're going fast. I mean, people in the stores are literally putting them up on the shelf and people are grabbing them right away. And you want to go ahead and get your supplies early because once, you know, that time comes and pretty much as soon as Halloween is over, Thanksgiving is in full bloom, and you know, a lot of us doing these crafts for those holidays, you're not going to find what you need. So you need to kind of try to think ahead, think about what you know you're going to need, try to stock up on that so that then you have the supplies you need to be able to make the crafts, and you're not spending like tons of money because you can still get some pretty good deals on these types of crafts. Let's see. Crafting with Robin says, good idea. My front door has a glass window and covering the back will make it look better from the inside. Awesome. Yes, you can definitely cover that. And you know, it serves the purpose for the other side to look good as well. And it kind of, you know, helps also if you orange fabric, it'll help, you know, minimize if you have any holes or anything. It won't reflect the hole. It'll actually reflect just the fabric. Let's see. Okay, I don't see any more questions. Oh, my dear friend brought me, Donna says, my dear friend brought me anointed prayer cloths to wear on my clothes and a nice anointed handkerchief that I sleep with. Faith and prayer are awesome healers. Yes. Yeah, I hope your hands start feeling better, Donna. You know, I know that's really difficult, especially when you want to get something done and you can't because, you know, you're a little bit of a pain. I hope you start feeling better soon. Okay, so that is everything that I used for the wreaths. And again, I would encourage you, if you've already made a wreath, try to go ahead and reuse some of the supplies that you did. You know, some of these typical supplies like the pipe cleaners and the tie wraps, you reuse that over and over. You reuse it also in your home. The ribbons, you can get them on sale all the time. So definitely something you want to, you know, be always on the lookout to see if you can find deals on those. I wouldn't go too crazy and spending tons of money on that stuff. And that's about it. I mean, those are the two crafts that I was able to pull together this week. So it's just cute little Halloween type things that you'll want to try to pull together. And I think they're super quick, simple ideas that you can do. Now, what I will do is maybe kind of hang one on my front door and then have one on the inside. Like, it really will depend. One thing of caution, if you are going to use the PDF and you're going to put this on cardboard, if you're putting it outside, you want to be careful, because if it's cardboard and it gets wet, you know, it's going to get all mushy, so you may want to protect it. So this may be something you want to do inside. But either way, you know, what you can do is laminate it, you know, and if you laminate it, then, you know, as long as it's protected from the water, then you should be fine. But that's something that, you know, you definitely may want to try. Oh, Donna says you could make 2 pumpkins and tie them together for a hanging decoration. Yes, that's another great idea. So what Donna's saying is taking this pumpkin, and then if I grab the frame of the other pumpkin, if I make a second one, tie the 2 together. And so you'll have one big pumpkin, and then you can kind of hang it on the inside of your house, right? So it'll be one full pumpkin, front and back. So that would be pretty neat to do. Would take quite a bit of work, because you'll have to do 2 wreaths just to get that effect. But definitely, you know, something that you can do. Okay, Jenny says that was awesome. That was an awesome tutorial on making these beautiful pumpkin. Oh, thank you, Jenny. I appreciate it. Great idea, Donna. Yes, it was. Okay, she says, or attach the double-sided pumpkin to a foam base for a table centerpiece. Oh, now you're thinking, Donna. Wow, what's going on, Donna? You got some ideas you're spitting out today. Great idea. Yeah, for a table topper. So if you think about that, you put the foam, and let's say you had it double-sided on the table, you know, you can get maybe a long foam piece, put the pumpkin in the middle, and then put embellishment around it. That would be really pretty for a table setting. Very, very pretty. Love that idea, Donna. Great thinking out of the box. I like that. Let's see. Anyone else? Awesome. Yeah, you're so talented, Donna. You are. You're a gifted crafter. Awesome. Love it, love it, love it. So, you know, guys, this is where, you know, we like to think out of the box. Think of these ideas. Think of, like, if you're doing the craft show, you're doing your Etsy shop. These are the types of things that, you know, you can get your juices flowing, you know, from just making a wreath to turning it into a tabletop decoration to hanging it, you know, by doing it double-sided. I mean, these are the types of things that you can use. You can use AI technology, like I'm going to be providing you guys with the PDF. So with the PDF, you guys can do things like that. So lots of things that you can do using that noggin, right? You're going to use the noggin. And, you know, you can come up with so many different things. And it doesn't mean that you have to spend tons of money on this stuff, right? So I hope you guys really enjoyed this week's little crafts, right? So thank you guys for joining and crafting with me today. I really enjoyed it. So remember that we post on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, all the social media platforms. Show me your projects. Show me what you've done. What kind of wreaths do you have for the Halloween season? Or maybe it's for Thanksgiving. Show me the projects that you're working on, because I would really love to see them. And we like to share it with the group. So thank you guys again for joining, and I hope to be crafting with you soon. Bye, everyone.